Welcome to the Deep Dive, your quick take on the biggest AI news hitting the wire. We've sifted through the latest reports.
And yeah, our job is to pull out what really matters, the new models, the tools, and, how it's all shaking out.
Exactly. It feels like things are moving faster than ever.
They really are.
Yeah.
Let's jump right in. This whole AI agent thing seems to be exploding.
Okay, yeah, AI agents. First up, Accenture. They're apparently using over 450 AI agents from Pipefy for internal stuff.
That's right. It's a huge number, and it really signals this big push towards what some are calling agentification, basically using agents everywhere for efficiency.
Agentification. So what does a deployment that big actually tell us?
Well, it shows a real level of trust, trust that these AI agents can handle pretty complex internal jobs. When a company like Accenture goes that big,
Yeah.
it means they're seeing real results, better speed, maybe accuracy, saving human hours. It's not just a concept anymore, it's happening at scale.
Right, practical application. And Google Cloud Next seemed to be all over this agent trend, too. They announced the Model Context Protocol, MCP.
Yep, MCP, and also a new agent-to-agent, or A2A, communication standard.
Okay, MCP, A2A. Why are these protocols such a big deal for someone maybe not deep in the weeds?
Think of it like building the roads and traffic signals for AI agents.
Yeah.
MCP helps different AI models understand the context, what the task is really about.
Okay, context.
And A2A sets the rules for how these different agents talk to each other, how they cooperate. You need that foundation if you want multiple agents working together smoothly on bigger problems.
So it's like enabling AI teamwork, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Building those more complex multi-agent systems.
Google also put out Firebase Studio, free, AI-powered, helps build apps right in the browser with agentic workflows.
Yeah, that's a really interesting one. It embeds the AI right into the development flow.
How does that lower the barrier for developers then?
Well, these agentic workflows mean the AI can help with coding, testing, deploying, all within that browser environment. You don't necessarily need deep ML expertise to start using some powerful AI tools. It simplifies things.
Kind of like having an AI assistant baked right into your development tools.
Pretty much.
And it's not just Google. Adobe's jumping in too, right? With their Experience Platform Agent Orchestrator, autonomous AI for marketing.
That's another big signal. Adobe, coming from the creative and marketing side, using autonomous agents for personalization.
So what's the implication there for how businesses talk to customers?
It points towards, I think, hyper-personalization really scaling up. Imagine agents automatically adjusting marketing messages, offers, for each person across every touch point.
Wow. That could be way more relevant marketing.
Could be, but it also, raises questions about how those automated interactions feel, the data involved.
Definitely something to watch. And all this agent activity seems to be sparking interest in building like platforms or marketplaces for agents.
Yeah, that conversation is definitely happening. The idea is, instead of everyone building agents from scratch for every little thing.
You could have a marketplace.
Exactly. An ecosystem of specialized agents you could plug in. Agents for lead gen, agents for customer support, data analysis. It could really speed up adoption.
We're already seeing bits of that, like people developing AI voice agents for sales calls, lead scoring, booking appointments.
For sure. Those voice agents could handle the initial outreach, qualify leads, schedule meetings, freeing up human sales folks for the more complex conversations.
More efficiency, maybe faster responses for customers too.
Potentially, yeah.
Oh.
24/7 availability, instant responses.
And I saw something about a platform where you can make your own agent just by uploading screen recordings of a task and connecting to these MCPs.
That sounds incredibly user-friendly if it works well, making it that easy to create an agent. That's key for getting this tech into the hands of more people, smaller businesses, democratizing it.
Right, taking away the need for deep coding skills. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. New AI models. Ilya Sutskever's new venture, Safe Superintelligence, SSI, reportedly valued at $32 billion now.
Yeah, $32 billion. That kind of valuation, especially for a company focused on safe AI development, is, well, it's massive.
It says a lot about where investors think the future is headed, doesn't it?
Absolutely. They're betting huge amounts on cracking AGI or something close to it and doing it safely. The stakes are incredibly high.
Meanwhile, Meta is supposedly rolling out new Llama 4 models, though the sources were a bit light on details there.
Yeah, reports mention Llama 4, but not much concrete info yet. We'll have to see what emerges.
But Google has been talking about Gemini 2.5 Flash and VO2, and Gemini's in that Firebase Studio we mentioned. What's the push with these?
Well, Flash usually suggests speed efficiency. So
Okay.
Gemini 2.5 Flash is likely optimized for faster responses, maybe lower cost.
Hmm.
VO2 is their video generation model, so that indicates progress there.
Better, faster AI video.
Seems to be the direction. And integrating Gemini into Firebase Studio puts those capabilities directly into developers' hands.
That theme of efficiency pops up again. Researchers, MIT, cost, others, found a way to compress large language models really fast without losing much quality.
Yes, that's a really important area of research, model compression.
Why is that so crucial, compressing these huge models?
Because these big LLMs need massive computing power. If you can shrink them down, make them run faster without hurting performance too much.
Then you can run them on smaller devices.
Exactly. On phones, on laptops, on edge devices, not just in giant data centers. It makes powerful AI much more accessible and usable in more places.
Opens up a lot of possibilities. NVIDIA is also in the model game, releasing Llama 3.1 Nematron Ultra 253B V1. That's a mouthful. Designed for enterprise innovation.
Right. NVIDIA, known for the hardware, also releasing models tuned for business use. Nematron Ultra likely has features or training data focused on commercial problems, maybe helping companies innovate faster.
So AI tailored specifically for business needs, not just general purpose.
That seems to be the trend. Specialization.
And in the creative space, Adobe Firefly is being pushed hard as a major AI image tool, especially for commercial use.
Adobe's position here is interesting. They understand creative workflows, copyright, licensing. So Firefly, built with commercial use in mind, could become a go-to for professionals worried about legal issues.
Right, integrating AI safely into professional work. Google's also boosting its video AI, VO2, with cinematic controls, outpainting, in-painting.
Yeah, those VO2 updates sound pretty advanced. Cinematic controls suggest finer-grained manipulation of the generated video. Outpainting and in-painting mean extending or filling in parts of a video.
So AI is becoming a more sophisticated video editing and creation partner.
It looks that way. Tools that can handle tasks that used to be really complex or time-consuming.
Salesforce has something new too, VLM2 VEC and MMEB, a framework for universal multimodal embeddings. Can you break that down?
Okay. Multimodal embeddings. Basically, it's about teaching AI to understand connections between different types of data.
Yeah.
Like, how does this image relate to this piece of text?
Linking text and images.
For audio or video. VLM2, VEC, and MMEB are tools Salesforce developed to create better embeddings, these mathematical representations that work across different data types. Helps with searching across media, understanding image content better, things like that.
Got it. And Microsoft's helping AI get better at coding with Debug Gym for AI coding agents.
Yeah, Debug Gym, it's like a training ground for AI coders to practice finding and fixing bugs in code. As AI writes more code, making sure it can debug itself is pretty important.
AI learning to fix its own mistakes.
Interesting.
Hmm.
And in education, Anthropic launched Claude for education.
Right, a version of their Claude AI specifically for colleges and universities.
How would that be different from just using regular Claude?
You'd expect it to be tuned with academic resources, maybe better at research tasks, citation, understanding educational context, perhaps integrations with learning platforms, more focused for students and faculty.
Makes sense. And finally, a big one for users. ChatGPT now has memory. It remembers past conversations.
That's a fundamental improvement, really. How does it change the experience?
It makes the conversation feel much more continuous and natural. Instead of starting fresh every time, ChatGPT can use the context from earlier in the chat to give more relevant, personalized answers. It's less like talking to a search engine, more like an actual dialogue.
Yeah, much less repetitive, I bet. Okay, let's look at AI in the business world. ePlus got NVIDIA DGX SuperPOD specialization status. Sounds technical, but what's the significance?
It highlights the heavy-duty infrastructure needed for serious AI work. A SuperPOD is a massive cluster of NVIDIA's AI computers. ePlus getting the specialization means they're equipped to build and manage these complex, high-performance AI systems for big companies.
So underscores the infrastructure demands. The Stanford AI Index for 2025 came out, reviewing last year. Key findings.
Well, a few big things. AI performance keeps improving on benchmarks. Adoption is way up, especially in the U.S. businesses using it, people using it daily. High corporate investment here.
And
China's closing the performance gap fast, especially in building large models. So rapid progress globally, strong U.S. adoption, and intense international competition.
a familiar story. Google's also pushing AI hard into its cloud services.
Yeah, that's a core strategy for all the major cloud providers now. bake AI tools right into the platform. Makes it easier for their customers to start using AI without building everything themselves.
Lowers the barrier to entry for businesses.
Definitely. Democratizes access to powerful tools.
We're seeing AI used for all sorts of things now. Predictive analytics, customer engagement, automation. Can you give a concrete example or two?
Sure. Predictive analytics think forecasting sales or machine maintenance needs. Customer engagement AI recommendation engines on shopping sites, or chatbots handling support queries.
Right.
And automation, a classic example is UPS's Orion system optimizing delivery routes. Saves millions in fuel and time. Real-world impact.
Tangible benefits. AWS launched something called the LLM League, using SageMaker Jumpstart.
Yeah, the LLM League sounds like an initiative to help businesses get hands-on with customizing large language models for their own specific problems. Jumpstart provides pre-trained models and tools.
So AWS is trying to make it easier for companies to actually use these LLMs, not just talk about them.
Exactly. Lowering the barrier to customizing and fine-tuning for real business challenges.
We're even seeing super specialized AI, like a nutrition agent just for women, trained on specific data.
That shows the potential for really niche AI. As models get better and we get more specific data sets, you'll see AI tailored for very particular groups or tasks.
And the creative industries seem to be engaging more. Kamal Hassan visited Perplexity HQ about AI in film. James Cameron apparently softening his stance on AI.
Yeah, those are interesting signals. High-profile filmmakers engaging with AI companies suggests a shift. Maybe less fear, more curiosity about AI as a tool for filmmaking, production, maybe even storytelling.
Acceptance seems to be growing, perhaps. Okay, let's touch on infrastructure and performance quickly. Blue water autonomy came out of stealth, promising autonomous naval ship.
Whoa, yeah. Autonomous ships, especially naval ones. That's a huge step for AI in transport and defense. Major implications for maritime operations.
And on the energy front, AI is driving up electricity demand in data centers, threatening sustainability pledges.
That's the downside of all this power. Training these huge models takes enormous amounts of energy. It's a real challenge. How do we keep innovating in AI without cooking the planet? More efficient algorithms, greener energy for data centers. It's critical.
A major balancing act. ByteDance, TikTok's parent, invested heavily in AI infrastructure last year and using its user data.
No surprise there. Shows how resource-intensive AI is, needing big compute power. And having that massive user base gives them a huge data advantage for training their models. Data and compute, the two key ingredients.
But funding in Asia for startups, including AI, took a hit in Q1 this year.
Yeah, saw that report. A significant dip. Could be a market cool down, investors getting more selective. Hard to say if it's a blip or a trend yet. Something to watch.
NVIDIA keeps pushing the hardware, though. New HPC SDK supporting their Blackwell GPUs.
Right, NVIDIA is the engine driving a lot of this. Better GPUs, better software. That's what allows these more complex models to be built and run. Constant hardware progress is essential.
There's also talk about AI fabric resiliency, network convergence. Sound like making sure the plumbing works for these massive AI systems.
Absolutely. You can have the fastest chips, but if the network connecting them is slow or unreliable, the whole system bogs down. For high-performance AI, you need incredibly robust, fast, specialized networking.
And finally, Elon Musk's xAI reportedly using methane gas generators for its Colossus supercomputer.
That's an unconventional choice. Using methane generators raises immediate environmental questions, certainly. Shows the extreme lengths some are going to get the sheer power needed for their AI ambitions.
Definitely controversial. Okay, let's also quickly cover AI development tools and some ethical points. Google says some terms in AI overviews will link back to search results.
Right, trying to integrate their AI summaries with their core search business, likely for traffic and maybe ad revenue down the line. It's an ongoing evolution of how search works.
And we've seen discussions about AI's impact across various fields, job displacement risks, legal uses, sports betting, even content moderation.
Yeah, the applications and implications are everywhere. Content moderation, for instance, is a huge challenge. Using AI to tackle misinformation at scale is crucial, but also really difficult to get right. Bias, context, it's complex.
There was also a point about whether throwing more compute at AI verification is always the answer versus improving the AI's reasoning.
That's a key debate. Can we make AI smarter and more reliable just by making it bigger and faster? Or do we need breakthroughs in how it actually reasons and understands? Probably a bit of both.
We're seeing AI assistants potentially moving from generalists to specialists using techniques like RGAD retrieval augmented generation.
Right. Instead of one giant model trying to know everything, you augment a model with specific, up-to-date information retrieved from knowledge bases. helps make answers more accurate and relevant for specific tasks.
Like that AWS LLM league trying to fine-tune models for specific business cases.
Yeah. Exactly. It's about tailoring the AI. Microsoft's Debug Gym fits here too, specializing AI for the task of debugging code.
There are also discussions about building AI voice agents from scratch, the architecture needed, and questions about code maintainability when AI writes it.
Yeah, if AI generates tons of code, who maintains it? How readable is it? One idea is humans define the high-level structure, the architecture, and AI handles the detailed implementation, a partnership model.
It feels like the tooling landscape itself is changing so fast, it's hard to keep up.
It absolutely is. New models, new platforms, new techniques pop up constantly. Staying current is a challenge for everyone in the field.
Now, shifting to the ethical side, law professors filed a brief supporting authors suing Meta over Llama being trained on ebooks.
Yes, the copyright battles are heating up. The core question is training AI on copyrighted material without permission considered fair use? It's a fundamental legal challenge for the industry.
And beyond copyright, there are ongoing concerns about bias in models, the environmental costs we mentioned, potential misuse for disinformation, privacy.
All huge issues. Fairness, transparency, accountability. How do we ensure AI is developed and used responsibly, especially as we see things like AI companions emerging?
Right, the need for oversight is clear. There's even philosophical discussion. Can AI go beyond human knowledge? What if its thinking becomes indistinguishable from ours?
Deep questions. And you see public anxiety too, maybe misconceptions about what AI currently can and can't do. Artists are definitely worried about AI art generators and copyright.
It's a broad societal conversation. Jack Ma from Alibaba had a quote emphasizing AI should serve humans, not rule over them.
That captures a common sentiment, ensuring AI remains a tool for human benefit, under human control.
So wrapping this up, today's deep dive really shows an AI landscape that's just incredibly dynamic, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. From AI agents becoming common in businesses to these powerful new models emerging constantly, and all the complex ethical and societal questions swirling around. It's a lot.
We've touched on the specialized applications, the crucial infrastructure, the development tools evolving daily. The pace is just relentless.
It really makes staying informed and thinking critically about it all more important than ever, both the huge potential and the real challenges.
Definitely. So maybe something for our listeners to think about. With all these advancements, especially in agents and model capabilities, what specific task or area in your world could be most transformed by this? And which ethical consideration feels most pressing to you right now? Lots to mull over.